All right. What's up, everybody? It is Dark Conservatarian, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these types of live streams under the title of The Dark Cancer, but yet here we are to talk about a recent video that I did that was in response to primarily Rylee the Bunny King, and also in part to Gavi the Mutualist as well. So introduce yourself, Rylee. Or excuse me, sorry, Gavi.
Uh, Hi, I'm Gavi. I'm not a pedophile.
All right. And just to clarify, before we go on any further, you all watching have probably seen the video of where I responded to some seeming pedo apologists. And I just want to clarify that I did not. The only person that I really called a pedo was Rylee himself or herself or whatever. What do they identify as?
They used to identify as a no map, but they recently dropped the title. I would suggest, yeah,
No, it means like male or female.
Oh, they identify as both. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I was meaning primarily gender, but you basically admitted
No,
right
that's
there.
just a joke.
So you basically admitted right there that Rylee has come out before as a no map.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of even Rylee himself said that like it was a joke and stuff, but like I don't know. They, from what I was talking to them about, they took it kind of seriously, but I don't know. They often do things just to get attention. Also, I wouldn't put it past them if it was a joke. Also.
Yeah, I suspect that as much. But at the same time, I just want to say that there was like an off-air call that I had at some point of last year with them, excuse me, with Rylee and Metal Doomer and Cass Warfox for that matter. We were about to go on air, but then we kind of, I guess, resolved that it wasn't really worth going on air and decided, we're just going to nix this. But now I kind of regret not going on air because during the off-air portion of that call, Rylee had essentially revealed to me and to everybody listening that he, she, whatever, that they were essentially a non-offending minor attracted person. And so that's the main reason as to why that I just called straight up Rylee a pedo. Like, even if they claim to not be of that sex, why do I even use this wording? Because really, pedophilia should not be accepted as a sexual orientation at fucking all. But even if they claim to not be of that quote unquote sexual orientation anymore, it's going to be really hard for them to get rid of that stain, unfortunately, for Rylee.
Well, yeah, no, like there's things you cannot like fully remove from yourself off the internet. Like if you do certain things, you're kind of screwed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, even if you put something out there and then delete it, it's still within some, like, I don't know, deep web database where that you can scrounge up deleted archives of stuff.
Yeah, but also Rylee has said some very controversial stuff in the past. Also, like killing cops. Basically, she identified as a Hoppian at one point to get the Hoppians on her side or something. I don't know what the deal was that. She she said like something about killing all politicians and hanging them from a rope. Yeah, she's a very controversial figure from the libertarian community.
And I do I do agree with Metal Doomer as I am like as I am like featuring that live chat comment. At the absolute minimum, you can say that Rylee is a pedo apologist. I mean, yeah, that is pretty much incontroversial. But to get on to the main subject, actually, now that we've laid out our thoughts about Rylee primarily, so you all have seen it like last Thursday, the morning of Thursday, I had uploaded a video that was in response to primarily Rylee, but also to an extent to Gavi as well. And then later on, Gavi tagged me on Discord and saying I am not a pedo apologist or anything like that. And I said, well, it kind of sounded like during that video. And so that is the main reason as to why that we have this call, is to sort of clear up some of the things right there. And if I may, like, just give some context, Gavi, as to what made me think that moment, what made me think that way. I'm going to, like, show the footage.
Okay.
So this is the soundbite that made me go thinking that.
Is bullcrap.
I take it you can hear it, right?
Yeah, I can hear it.
All right, here we go.
I'm going to say that again. If you think there has to be a quota for someone to have self-ownership, you do not support the libertarian view. The libertarian view is each person has self-ownership, while parents can play the role of guardian to protect a child. At the same time, when that individual is ready to leave home and move out, example, say your 12-year-old says, you know what? I have a Bitcoin miner. I don't like to go into bed at 10. I'm going to go get my own apartment. If you were to lock the door and say you cannot leave, you are no better than the state, a kidnapper, and an abuser. Each person who owns themselves in a libertarian society has a right to their own self-autonomy, to their own self. And when they're able to act upon that autonomy, only they get to decide when they're ready to do something, when they're ready to drive, when they're ready to rent, when they're ready to move out, when they're ready to even fuck.
Keep that in mind, folks, when they're even ready to fuck. Like, by they, she's, whatever, they are referring to kids living under parents' house.
No one has that right. Now, you may say, well, they live in my house, therefore I don't want them to have sex. Which you could claim is true. Yeah, you could tell your 12-year-old, no, I don't want you dating a 30-year-old. That's fucked up. I find that disgusting. You can't do that. But if that 12-year-old has the ability to move out, you cannot hold them against their will.
Yes, so essentially an implied condemning of anyone who prevents quote-unquote consensual pedophilic relationships. And here's the part where that got me confused about you, Gavi, that made me think the way that I did about you.
That is being a state. That is imposing your status opinion upon them.
Honestly, yeah. Like, you have to remain consistent with libertarianism. It's either you have self-ownership or you don't. There is no in-between. You cannot say, well, I partly own my kid, but once they get a certain age, that means they get their self-ownership. No, that's not how it works. For order for parents, for like them to raise like their kid, the child has to agree to be raised by the parents. If the child does not agree, the child can disassociate at any time. Although the child has to follow the rules if they're going to live under the parent.
All right, so right after Rylee had essentially spilled out their spiel about child rights and whatnot, even falling under the area of sex with adults, you said, honestly, yeah, which like showed a bit of agreement with that talking point, which is that I thought at the moment there that you might have not been an active pedo apologist, but you were at least agreeing with pedo apologisms. But what's your explanation of that?
Okay, I disagreed with the last thing Rylee said, but everything else I agreed with. Whether or not you think I'm a pedophile, I don't think it's possible for children to have sexual relations with an adult. It's highly unlikely, and every single case should be looked at like with the child being manipulated or kidnapped or however you want to put it. The child. Okay, what do you want to say?
I actually had something about that because from what I remember about that, Rylee was talking about child rights, and every time they've ever brought up a child rights argument that I remember, they always differentiated the ability of, or not ability, but having rights and the ability to use your rights.
Yeah, like I like Rothbard put it, like you cannot you cannot exercise certain rights until you're a certain age.
No. argument Rylee makes about rights is that everyone always has all their rights, whether they can use them or not. In the same way that a paraplegic has the right to walk, but not the ability.
Does this make sense to you?
No, like, well, okay. To an extent, it does make sense, and I just want to annotate that I really have no issue with the idea of a child being allowed to even go so far to own a gun and be learned how to shoot it and so forth. Although I would say that I believe that that should be left up to the parent's responsibility as to whether or not, or legal guardian, whoever it be, as to whether or not they say that that it's okay for the child to do that. Main thing being that it seems like honestly a bit of a slippery slope, because if you were to like say, yeah, they can do that with or without parents, that children are the exact same animal when it comes to rights as a full-grown adult, then that not only says, yeah, it's okay for them to shoot a gun or even drive a car, all well and good, because there's no permanent damaging effects on the child if they're to do that. But not only that, it would also say that it's okay for them to, screw adults, quote unquote, consensually. Which would
Wouldn't that also go back on your own argument then?
What?
Wouldn't that reflect back, or wouldn't that like go back on your own argument then? Because if you could say that kid can use like weapons and own weapons and stuff at the permission of the parents, couldn't you make the same argument about like they could have relations as a kid with the permissions of their parents?
I would not go so far to say that. I would have to frame it.
If you're going
I would have
from
to
a
find the
legalistic
perfect
standpoint, that can't really not argue the same way.
I'm not trying to apply. I'm not trying to make an appeal to law here. Is my thing. I believe that my philosophical belief is that I don't believe that that kids are parents' property. Let me just get that clear and out of the way, because I know that there's this one dumbass bitch named Rachel Slur in my comment section that made this straw man that I believe that children are property, when clearly at one point of the video I said that I fully disagree with that philosophy. That's one of the gripes that I had with that guy T when I first heard him say that. I don't believe that parents own their kids, but I believe that they have stewardship. Stewardship doesn't mean ownership necessarily. It means management, if anything else. In a way, I would say in the ultimatum of things that the child does own themselves in a way, but at the same time, they cannot manage themselves properly or coherently. So that therefore that falls on the closest, most responsible of a person, that being the parent. That I say right here.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of disagree with that, but I kind of see what you're talking about and stuff. And and like, keep in mind, I'm an anarchist, and you're you still believe in a state and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm a minarchist of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Conservatarian more specifically, because there are those minarchists who say abortion is free reign. Yeah, abortion surgeons, they can do their thing, whereas I disagree with that. That's why I call myself more of a conservatarian, because I'm heavily conservative when it comes to abortion. But even then, I would say that there's still a libertarian argument to against abortion, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to have to write down exactly what the argumentation there was. Could a kid ask for permission from an adult to make out, let's put it that way, with another adult? Well, from their parent, more specifically. From their parent. That's something that I would have to more accurately that I have to more think about as a perfect way to articulate against that point. But I still stand on the default position that no, it's still not all right. If you're just going to let your child do something that is very highly dangerous or highly damaging, then it would fall under the area of in a way parental negligence. Like if you just let your 6-year-old just walk out into the middle of a busy street and they end up running themselves over, that's parental negligence. I would say that's the same thing with if the kid is all like, hey, can I hang out with the very nice old man that wants to give me candy? And they say yes, and ultimately with no real guidance towards the kid, just gives the kid free reign with the adult, and they end up quote unquote consensually having sex, and that is parental negligence on that. So that's how I would put that for right now.
Yeah, but I get your point and everything.
Minarchist. The landmines rule supreme. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know that it's more properly pronounced as minarchist, but I just for some reason I find the pronunciation of minarchist to be a little bit more badass. But that's just me, though. There's some other things in the chat here that I'm going to let pop up. Metal Minister, false equivalency. One has no negative effects on the child. The other is directly negative at all points to the child. I mean, I guess that's how I would differentiate the ability and right to own and have a gun versus the ability or the permission to actively have sex. Because when you merely own a gun, you're not having any action with or on another person. You are just possessing it. I mean, you can even like using it on an inanimate object for target practice. That's violating, of course, no one's rights at that point as well, or doing any kind of harm in any sort of way. But thing with pedophilia is that is not just possession of an item or an ethical use of an item. That is an unethical practice right there. It's more unethical on the actual adult pedophile himself than the kid, because the kid, like I have argued before, is just a manipulated victim by that adult pedo, but all the same.
Yeah. I'm not gonna try to make this a debate or anything. I mean, we could debate the subject later if you want to, but like, yeah.
I guess that's fine right now. It's just is your boyfriend a libertarian Sith, by the way, or who is he, by the way?
He's amorphous. Have you ever heard of him or seen him around?
No, I have not. Never mind then. For some reason, that's the implication that guy was all like, But that was an assumption on my part. My bad. But anyway, he was just bringing up arguments on the floor, and I thought I'd just quickly address those. But I guess back on the main point at hand. So my question would be pertaining strictly to that clip in the video that I had played. As far as it made to look like that you agreed with Rylee's pedo apologisms, would you say that you were really just not paying attention at the moment there, at every last word there? And if you had paid closer attention, you would have actually said, no, Rylee, sorry, I disagree with the idea of it being ethical for a kid to have sex, quote unquote, consensually with an adult.
Yeah, sort of. Rylee was saying like everything I agree with, except the very last part, which I wasn't paying attention. I was just going along with it, which, to be honest, I should pay closer attention. No doubt about it. I guess you learn and live and stuff like that. But yeah, I would have said like I disagree with Rylee on the last part, but I get what she means. That's what I would have said.
Right, and I get it that Rylee's main point, well, excuse me, or at least that Rylee claims that the main point is about child rights and not having sex with children. But one could almost suspect that is the ulterior motive right there. Just they are trying to keep it under wraps or whatnot.
Yeah.
So go on.
I'm just gonna point out Rylee has never touched a child or hasn't, tried to get nudes from children online. I've known Rylee for about 5 years now. We practically see each other as sisters.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry. That just seems like a bad idea right there. Just me personally, anyways. But I'll say that I'll give the benefit of the doubt that Rylee hasn't actually committed an act of pedophilia so far, because I haven't seen the evidence of it myself. But it's still rather shitty that anybody be making apologisms for that. I would proudly say objectively heinous act right there. And I think it's a bad idea to associate with those types of people. I mean, I'm not going to try to browbeat you with some guilt by association fallacy, Gavi, but just like as advice for in the future, probably want to like reel that in a bit, reel back on that. And by the way, Conundrum, this is Gavi right here. This is not Rylee that I'm talking to in the chat. I do not know if you're a bit confused about that or not. So just about that clarification. Metal Doomer says, sorry, but I don't believe that. I think he's referring to the idea of you saying that you weren't paying attention, and at the time you would have said that you disagreed with Rylee on the idea of pedophilia if you had paid better attention, which honestly, me and Brandon are a little bit different in that way because Rational Outlaw kind of, well, okay, I guess I shouldn't mention names. I'm just going to say in the broad sense that I am more willing to give the benefit of doubt on that, that a person is not acting in malicious intent unless I see something very, very starkingly malicious. At this point, though, I will say that, Gavi, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. At this point, I will say that it did seem like that you were kind of out of it at multiple points in that stream. And that's why that I suspect that it's a possibility that you might not have actively been agreeing with Rylee, that you were just being, I don't know, buzzed out or brain dead.
I think I was high during the stream.
What the fuck?
I think that's what it was.
Note to self, people, do not pull an Andy Worski on stream. But nonetheless, but all the same, there is still a little bit of a prevailing doubt in my head that would kind of make me somewhat sympathetic to Brandon's position on your real position. And one question is, do you run the Pirates of Anarcha YouTube channel?
Yes, I do. I abandoned it because Rylee doesn't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I kind of, yeah.
You kind of gave it up on content creation?
Well, not that exactly. It's just I want to do videos by myself, and yeah, like I don't really need Rylee to do that, and plus I want to avoid as much controversy as I can outside of what I believe. And again, like kid diddling is not my thing. I don't believe in that.
I think that that's an overall good idea right there. But nonetheless, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, now I remember. What I remember is that there are like more comments underneath that video or underneath that live stream than there actually are at this moment. So it almost makes me suspect that some chat comments were like deleted or something. And so have you been deleting any YouTube comments underneath that stream?
Not that I know of. I talked to Rylee. We both have access to the channel. She said that she hasn't been deleting any comments, and you can actually go under like the settings and like whatever that YouTube thing is called, where you can actually see deleted comments and or hidden comments or something. What we both agreed on is YouTube might be hiding comments from us, which they've been doing that for a very long time now.
Yeah, I know, which is why that I also realize it's a possibility that YouTube might ultimately making you both look bad as far as this goes. But I just want to like lay out, if it is found out, Gavi, just to put this out here, that if it is found out that you're deleting comments, that it really does put a jam a monkey wrench into the narrative that you were just rather unattentive to the whole. Okay, excuse me. how do I put this? It really does put a monkey wrench into the whole idea that you were just duped or something like that to say that you agree at the moment there, and that really you do currently agree, and you just, if it is found, okay, essentially, if it is found out that you were deleted comments underneath there, it makes me think that you are being dishonest with your position right now, that you do disagree with Rylee on the whole pedoism thing.
No, I can say I haven't been deleting comments. Rylee says they haven't been deleting comments, and yeah, we both have access to the channel, like stuff like that. It's not just me.
Okay. Well, maybe I can give the benefit of the doubt for at least right now. But I'm just want to address things as they are right now, because I know that I got kind of railed against for the possibility of putting out false allegations against Gavi. Well, against you, excuse me, Gavi. Sorry to talk about you in third person. But the reason as to why that I thought at the moment that you were like truly agreeing with the pedo apologisms was because of the honestly, yeah comment that you said right after Rylee's spiel.
Again, like, I wasn't paying full attention. Rylee was saying most things I agreed with, except the very last thing, which was the sex, which, again, every single case of adult-child relationship should be looked at as a indicator as the child's being abused.
Well, you can go ahead and do that if you want, but I think that I just want to address it all with a blanket brush. Like, I'm not too fond of broadly and blanketly addressing and handling subjects, but this issue, you know, child rights, pedophilia, whatever, I am for handling with a broad brush. And in this case, just ban it all, prevent it all, prevent absolutely everyone under the age of 18, 19, or even 21, whatever we consider to be the age of consent, be it by law or by an anarchist ethical standard or something. Just say no to it all, even if there is supposed reason to believe that this 12-year-old is actually as smart and confident as a 21-year-old. And there's not even just the whole mental side of things. There's also the physical side of things. Like, is it really? I don't know.
Well, yeah. There's also you're right. There's also the physical side, which if they're like having a relationship and the adult doesn't tell them that the child can be damaged, that's also an abusive thing. The child's being manipulated and stuff like that, and being withheld information.
All right. So how would you address Metal Doomer's chat comment right here? Then why didn't she argue? I think he's referring to you. Argue her points because she was high. I went into debates when I was high.
Again, like, Rylee wouldn't really let me talk either. And as soon as like Rylee interrupted me, I think you can actually see it in the live stream. Rylee kept on like talking and talking and talking and wouldn't really let me talk. So I might have just like let Rylee talk and forgot about the whole thing and stuff like that.
And that's of course what I see as well. I see plain as day that they were dominating the entire conversation. So what else do I have to address? I mean, I guess that's the main thing that makes me sort of doubt the whole I wasn't paying attention, I don't really agree with pedo apologism's argument is the possibility of comments being deleted. And being on this stream, you want to clear up your own reputation, which is totally all well and good. I give you here a platform to do that sort of thing, because being accused of being a pedo apologist is a serious allegation, not as serious as an acting pedophile, but all the same. But at the same time, you being on this platform and bring forth your case will still make people sort of doubt your case and look into it more. And I have a feeling that in the future, we might come back to this if somebody finds out some kind of flimsiness with the narrative of you not deleting comments. I mean, if Rylee, I will say that if Rylee is the one that's deleting comments, it's getting on that channel and deleting comments, whilst you also have access to it, but you were not deleting comments, well, then that's all well good, but it would seem that we would need some proof on that, if that was a possibility.
I guess I could see what I could do. I think there's a thing on YouTube where it shows what kind of comments you delete and stuff like that. I know once I like showed it to Jeremiah, that guy and everything, he like was playing it off like, oh, my comment is back up. Like I don't know like who's manipulating the situation, but like I could say I'm not deleting comments. Like,
okay. I guess the final question that I would ask is, what would you okay. What would you say that you do agree with Rylee on as far as child rights go, aside from the whole pedophilia and having sex with adults thing?
well, like I said in the live stream, I do think the child needs to like, you know, be agree to be raised by parents and everything. They shouldn't be forced into like a parenting or anything, in which my case is it's natural, and the kid, like, you know, if you're a good parent and everything, the child will depend on you and everything, and so child won't run off and will listen to everything you say. But like if, like, you know, you're a terrible parent, then the child will feel the need to, like, you know, disassociate. Sure, they might run away, but like most runaway cases, the child comes back because they realize they need their parent to, you know, grow up and food. They have a bed. Like they realize their parent is taking good care of them.
Okay, well, I just want to say very quickly that that there are different standards of what is good parenting and so forth, because some people say that even the mildest bit of spanking is an absolute no-go, and then there are those who say that the spanking your kid for, especially if the kid was to beat up another kid, that okay to do so. Just as an example, but Conundrum actually brings up a good point. If you may read it. Conundrum says, if Rylee is deleting comments, then change the channel password to lock Rylee out, because Rylee is making you look bad.
It doesn't really matter now. Like the only time I'm going to go back on the channel, if I can, I think I can find the password and everything. I sent it to Rylee. But like the only thing I'm going to do now on that channel is just like show that I haven't deleted any comments.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with that channel, to be honest, and Rylee is too. So yeah, it's just going to be me making videos this time, not anybody else.
I will say that right now my main ire is against Rylee themselves. For right now, at least. Who knows what might pop up in the future about you? But me personally, I can say that you aren't a pedo apologist. And I retract that implication that I gave in the video. I even like updated the thumbnail so that it doesn't show your face, but it just shows Rylee. And the freaking description box says that you aren't a pedo apologist as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Like I'm not really gonna defend Rylee here, and I also don't think you should go and harass them. The most thing I should do, if you're curious, is just maybe ask them. I don't really want them to get harassed.
I will say,
they haven't really, they only have opinions. They haven't really acted upon anything because there's no evidence of it. And
I will say that
if there is in the future, then I retract this statement. But yeah.
Yeah. If it is found out in the future that Rylee has actually committed pedophilia, well, then at that point, I would say fuck him. Just like the Sylvester Stallone Rambo 3 meme, fuck him. And at that point, I would say, yeah, as far as people being harassed or whatever else have you. But at this point, I don't find it worth it personally to be going on my way to harass Rylee. I'm not an anti-pedo activist. I'm not a pedo hunter. I'll leave that to my subscribers, and I'd be like, good for you. Like, I applaud pedo hunters personally, at least. But my main reason as to why that I made that video is because I don't want libertarianism tainted with pedophilia. Because there are a whole lot of normies that will have that thought, and looking at Rylee, they'll think, here is the truth, that libertarianism condones pedophilia. So you have to be a true blue social conservative or something.
If one person is advocating for it, then you can point out it's the guilt by association fallacy.
Right, of course, but it is still worthy making the video just for that alone. And I know that you might not consider me to be a libertarian because of me believing in even the smallest state possible, but nonetheless, as a libertarian, I disavow that shit.
No. I agree that you're a libertarian. I just I kind of changed my view on what libertarian is. Like, I think anarchy is a form of libertarianism.
Of course.
But yeah, there's different forms of libertarianism and stuff like that. There's not just one thing on libertarianism. In fact, if you go and looked at like older like reads and stuff like that, you could see libertarianism is just like believing in freedom, whether that be like
personal and economic freedom.
Yeah, or like just like free will or anything. Like, if you just believe in like freedom, then you're a libertarian. That's pretty much the basic definition.
Right. We could have like a full-on debate about that, but the long and short of it, I don't believe that anarchism is exact synonymous with libertarianism. I don't think that libertarianism is exact synonymous of anarchism. Whereas I have debated those anarchists before who do say that it is synonymous with each other, and if you are not an anarchist, you cannot call yourself a libertarian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I think we might be done here. Is there any other questions in the chat before that you guys want me to ask before we head on out of here? Because I'm already getting drained out on talking about this subject. Yeah, libertarianism doesn't say no state, it says least possible state. Anarchy says no state. Yeah, that's definition that I've always least possible is none at all, says a cat. Well, okay, that's your opinion though. But
that's just your opinion, man.
Yeah, I like to pull the Big Lebowski on a whole lot of people a lot of time. But yeah, is there any more questions to Rylee? Otherwise, we're going to head on out of here. Just give them a few more seconds. Is there anything more that you want to say in closing statement before we get out of here, Gavi?
Nothing. I kind of said my side of the story and everything, and yeah, that's it. Like, I'm not deleting comments and stuff. I'm gonna try to find where it says I removed some.
If there's like some folder that says removed comments, and then you look at that folder and provide a screen cap of it or something, and it's pretty much empty, that would pretty much be the evidence for it, for your case.
Yeah. If I do find like deleted comments, I can say it wasn't me. But I'll still screen cap it if there was deleted comments. And
if it is found out that they were deleted or removed by Rylee, I would suggest that you reinstate them yourself to at least to try and clear out your own name.
Mm-hmm.
Least does not equal none. Least entails some measure of a thing. That's a good way of putting it, Metal Minister. I was trying to find out the best way to put it earlier, but nonetheless. All right. So in closing of y'all, like Conundrum said, the jury is still out on Gavi. That might be the case, but I can still say, at least for right now, that Gavi is not a pedo apologist. I take that back in my earlier video. I've edited the description box to say that she is not a pedo apologist, nor agrees with pedo apologisms, apologist arguments. and all that shit. And if anybody in any relation to this drama wants to talk about this in the future, my DMs are open. Come arrange it with me, and at that point we'll talk, because I have a feeling that we have not seen the last of this, because I have dived myself into the thick of it. Anyway, any closing statements?
I guess what I could say is you could think what you want about me, but yeah, I'm saying the truth, at least on my side. But yeah, like, that's about it. Like, just you could think whatever you want about me, just like I'm presenting the truth on how it is for me. I'm not really going, like, I'm not really defending anyone else except me.
All right. Fair enough. And with that said, y'all, if you're just now joining this stream, I suggest that you go rewatching this stream to hear the case being made over this little chapter of drama right now, to sort of clear up Gavi's name, just the littlest inkling. But aside from that, thank you all for joining. Thanks for leaving the likes and viewing the stream and whatnot. And I'm the Dark Conservatarian. This is my guest, Gavi the Mutualist, Ethical Pirate, also formerly known as Iron Ancap and Thirsty Fox. See y'all later. God bless, and have a happy Labor Day, y'all. Goodbye.